The Pixie Belt. Once upon a time there was a little pixie. He lived among the rocks on the seashore in a very pretty and cosy little house. The walls were covered with flowers instead of pictures. The pixie slept on a bed of dry seaweed and had a cupboard full of cups and saucers made of seashells. The pixie had an old snail to be his servant and to keep the house bright and clean and tell him stories on winter nights. There was a little rock pool outside the house, full of crabs and tiny fishes. Every day the pixie had a swim in it, and then sat on the rocks, combing out his long beard. Sometimes he went with the young crabs under the seaweed and pinched the toes of the little boys and girls who came shrimping. One day the pixie went far across the rocks and found a lobster pot. "What a dear little house," he said, and climbed in to look around. But he was in a fine rage when he found that he could not get out again. He kicked and screamed in his cage, but it was of no use. Soon a big lobster came tumbling in too. "Why didn't you warn me that this was a trap?" he shouted to the pixie. "How did I know you were coming?" said the pixie crossly, and soon they were having a fierce quarrel. "Why can't you think of a plan to get us out of this prison?" cried the lobster. "I can't," said the pixie sulkily. "Nonsense! You must know some fairy trick. Have you nothing to give the fishermen to make them set us free?" "I have nothing to give," said the pixie, "but my little cork belt." "The very thing," cried the lobster. "When the fisherman comes, you must offer him your cork belt to set us free." "I won't," cried the pixie, dancing with rage, but at that moment the fisherman came and peeped in. He was very pleased to find a fine big lobster, and a queer little pixie in his pot. "This will please the children," he thought. "Let me out!" screamed the pixie. "No, no," said the fisherman. "I'll give you my little cork belt," offered the pixie. "Ah, I would like that," said the fisherman, for he knew that if he wore the cork belt of a pixie on his thumb, he could never be drowned. So he made ready to set the pixie free. "If you forget me, I'll pinch you," said the lobster. Then the poor pixie made the fisherman promise to set them both free in return for his little belt. Soon they were scuttling over the rocks again. The lobster went off to the sea, and the pixie hurried back to his little rocky house. How glad he was to be home again. He lay down on his seaweed bed and told the old snail all about his adventures. He made the pixie a cup of sea-water tea in a pink shell cup, and soon his troubles were all forgotten. By Katharine L. Oldmeadow.